hire children. And they need to hire children that happen to have parents that are willing to like leave them alone for an extended period of time and let them get dressed up and made up and whatever. Like it's just the perfect spot to be if you're a pedophile with a job, I would say. So it just makes sense. It's like shocking that we're shocked every time one gets caught. Like, yeah, fork found in kitchen.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, that's totally. I mean, that's sort of with our central intelligence or angle. It makes sense that it would just be this just sort of happens, and then those I don't know if it's important to you, then this is sort of where you find pedophiles. I guess like the American high school is a pretty good place to find pedophiles too. But
Right, well,
these,
they
yeah.
recruit for the army in high schools. Might as well recruit for the most recent psyop.
Mm. Um, but I feel like the reason why I don't know. I feel like I've read a lot. We I don't know. We both know all about the Jeffrey Epstein stuff. Something about the like why did all of these guys having access to a camera studio? It feels very insidious and complicated, and something like the ability of like because pedophiles are like they're you can argue a million times if the LGBT community is real and has actual solidarity. The pedophile community is real and has solid like they are aware like many like they seek each other out. There's organization. There's they're selling each other things.
They have
So
business dinners.
yeah. So like I read a book recently that mentioned Brian Peck as part of it was called Eye of the Chicken Hawk, which I don't know entirely how I don't know, it's within that sort of super conspiracy scary as scary can
Mhm.
be, where it kind of feels like true crime guys just describing crime for the fuck of it a bit. But
Super self-indulgent, explicit list of crimes.
yeah, just as gross as, where like we could have probably just have never heard that someone did that if we wanted to.
Right,
But
like inherently traumatizing to hear it explained in that way, which also serves a greater purpose to continue traumatizing people.
hey, that maybe, we're part of that in a way too now.
Oh, see, perpetuating.
But that mentions Brian Peck within this like bigger I don't know, network of child pornographers. And that just that pushed me in this direction because that is so I don't know. That's no one is watching. Like none of these guys. John Kay clearly the guy who made Ren and Stimpy. Here, let's watch a clip. This is John Kay on how Hanna-Barbera were dykes. Let me know if you can't hear this. I think you should be. Maybe you won't be able to. You need to be able to. Oh wait, no, you will be. You will be. Okay. May you? Can you hear it? Oh, and I
I
no, because I turned it down. This is how it goes. Okay. Um,
cannot hear.
you cannot.
Mm-mm.
Let me see. I have the OBS virtual camera. I have. Oh, okay. Here we go.
Who sought me out because she grew up watching Ren and Stimpy, right?
There we go.
So, Ren and Stimpy has a lot of specialists on it. Like we have people who draw manly, we have people who draw sensitive, we have people who draw sexy girls. Katie is the princess of sexy girl artists. Now I got to tell you a little history because
It's not very long. I
all through the
promise.
80s, when I was working at Hanna-Barbera and Filmation and all these studios, I always wanted to draw sexy girls into the cartoons. But since the networks were all run by dykes, they wouldn't let you because they thought it was offensive to women to draw girls cute, like Katie here. So it frustrated me and all the other artists that like to draw sexy girls. So when Ren and Stimpy came along, I managed to get a couple of scenes, like in Powder Toast Man. What's the name of the girl, the lovely assistant in Powder Toast Man? Now, Katie used to watch these cartoons. Didn't that crap inspire you or something?
Yes, I love the girls. I like Those Lynn Naylor girls too, and Stimpy's Big Day.
Yeah, those were great. And I think Katie showed me one time, she drew, I was at her 15th birthday party. We'll tell you that backstory a little bit later. And she showed me her sketchbook, and one of the drawings in it was a copy of a drawing I did of my character, Sody Pop. You still have that drawing?
Yes, it's not very good.
Yeah, it was pretty cool. Anyway, she is now, as far as I know, the best artist in the business at doing sexy girls. Draw the goddamn nipples. So we did, Katie did, and all the guys that had to follow up on her scenes spent a lot of time in the bathroom, let me tell you.
So Katie was groomed
Okay.
in the same way
And
that
then-
Robin was groomed.
Okay, and then it's just Nor Jasmine who made this video that I pulled this from, who's one of my favorite YouTubers with the Hear Me Out hat. So that's pretty crazy and vile. But I don't think Hanna, like, I don't want to, like, Hanna-Barbera, I feel like had a lot of sexy, maybe the word he's looking for is that they were furries.
I like using cute and sexy interchangeably when he like almost definitely means like borderline pornographic. And it's like, you could use words that are closer to what you were doing.
I also made this clip. We can get through the real sort of Disney. Let's watch this clip of Mr. Face, Mr. Dan Schneider, who himself was a child star.
Every one of those jokes was written for a kid audience because kids thought they were funny and only funny. Okay? Now we have some adults looking back at them 20 years later through their lens, and they're looking at them and they're saying, I don't think that's appropriate for a kid show. And I have no problem with that. If that's how anyone feels, let's cut those jokes out of the show. Just like I would have done 20 years ago or 25 years ago. I cut it. I want my shows to be popular. I want everyone to like. The more people who like the shows, the happier I am.
Yeah.
So if there's anything in a show that needs to be cut because it's upsetting somebody, let's cut it.
So I think it's big for you to say with your work, if it's viewed as that today, you don't have a problem.
Cut it. Cut it.
I mean, that's a solution.
The last thing I want to ever do
Yeah.
is put any content in a show that's going to upset my audience and make them want to turn off the TV. Why would I ever want to do that?
That makes sense.
So we're gonna edit all the pedophilia stuff out of Nickelodeon shows, like their cigarettes, I guess, in old movies. Oh my!
Just kind of blur it out.
What do you think of that? I'm kicking my cat out while he screams. Tell me your thoughts about Dan Schneider.
They just like blaming children for like to say, oh, it's what children find funny, but then you are deciding what children find funny. Like you are a cultural juggernaut for children.
Yeah,
You are running Nickelodeon.
are you born with a innate sense of what's funny, or is that seems like something that you learn? Maybe.
There's like feet and slime are the funniest thing in the world just innately, and it's the only way to make a child laugh.
And interestingly, now we consider slime relaxing.
Yeah, they've kept slime in the public consciousness for kids pretty well. We talk so much about how they were sliming people on Nickelodeon and how that's inappropriate, and now it's just a soothing mechanism. Dicey.
I got a question that where is Dan Schneider physically in the world right now? I know, not to complicate it, I know that Brian Peck got out of prison for his the case of that Drake Bell brought. And then John Kay is alive right now. He has a blog. He is free. He's enjoying the freedoms of an American who is not incarcerated. And I looked at his blog. I've almost put a screenshot of his blog in this. And he's still just drawing he's still just drawing sexy little Ren and Stimpy guys. So he's exactly
Gratuitous little creatures.
yeah. And I like Ren and Stimpy. I don't know.
I mean, I like all of it. I remember thinking like that Nickelodeon was funnier and that's how they sort of brag about it, like closer to adult comedy when you were allowed to watch adult comedy. Like it had more of that vibe. It seemed more authentic. Like Disney Channel, you were aware that you were watching something for kids. Whereas
Yeah.
Nickelodeon, you felt like it could kind of sneak by. Like this is Family Guy. This is Ren and Stimpy. This is something different. Something insidious.
Totally. Totally. I was looking at the history of Nickelodeon today too. And they were always like they were originally a Ohio-based public access station that was then purchased by I think like a big company, Viacom, guys who
They bought Neopets.
what'd you say?
Sorry. They bought Neopets. I remember it was very upsetting for me. Sorry.
Oh shit.
The
Wow.
Viacom takeover.
That is pretty terrible. No longer the Scientologists or Viacom the Scientologists? Was it Scientologists who owned Neopets?
No, Viacom.
Okay.
The Scientologists. Yeah.
What did they do to Neopets? Did they mess it up for you?
They made it so that you could spend real money on the app. Previously, you could pull yourself up by your bootstraps, but then they incorporated you could buy clothes with US dollars as opposed to the in-universe currency, which completely changed the vibe and dynamic of the
So they
website.
so they crashed the Neopets economy, basically.
Yeah, brutal. Inflation's been out of control ever since.
It's really awful.
Well, they've like got it under control recently, but like there was a period of time it was bad.
Oh, see, the Neopets economy is planned, guys.
Listen, it's functioning. Not well, but it's functioning.
You have to get pets their omelets. One thing that Neopets always had was like very powerful food kitchens. Like you could always eat.
Yeah, you could get your free omelet, and that had like 4 servings per omelet. You could get your free jelly in Jelly World, which they say doesn't exist, but I've been there. That's 2 servings. Unless you get a poison one, and then you're hungry that day.
Ugh,
But
that's not good. It's not good to. It was like starving, dying, gonna die. Seize the
just looking
light.
at you with tears.
Say that again.
They would just look at you with tears in their eyes, actually.
So fucked up. Um. Oh, someone didn't. Someone. Okay. Well, Dan Schneider is currently free, and that video that I showed, he clearly made and is just on his like production YouTube channel. So I assume he's just laying low. I would bet that he has some kind of hush money from the. I don't know if they offered Jeanette McCurdy $300,000 to shut the fuck up. How much did they offer Dan Schneider to shut the fuck up? I don't know. Um,
Shut the fuck up. Budget must be large.
which isn't good for a kids network. It's not a good sign.
I wonder what order they like rolled that into the budget. Was it like the first day of Nickelodeon, or was it like after a few years of hiring exclusively pedophiles? They were like, you know what, we should maybe carve out a little bit of space in case one of these guys does a horrible, heinous crime.
Yeah. Just in case,
On the off.
Probably at least after they blew up with SpongeBob, because SpongeBob seems untouched by controversy. And a clean although have you ever seen the article where the what is it? The supreme leader of Iran was like, we can't get revenge on America for killing General Soleimani because Americans don't have heroes, they only have SpongeBob and Spider-Man. You can't kill SpongeBob and Spider-Man. That's not true. You start posting who on the SpongeBob team is a pedophile. If there is one, allegedly, that'd kill SpongeBob, maybe. Or to just shut off the internet.
And there's a reason why people love to say that just ruined my childhood when they hear something like vaguely negative related to something they grew up with. Like, you genuinely ruined my childhood. You killed my childhood. So I think our spirit, our indomitable American spirit, could be crushed a little bit with a SpongeBob reveal. That sounds true to me.
these guys did kill our childhood. Well, really, the people in charge of Britney Spears killed my childhood. Did you watch Sam and
Mm.
Cat and Victoria? Did you watch Sam, Cat, and Victorious?
I remember feeling like I was too old for Victorious and Sam and Cat. I tapped out around iCarly. Um, Drake and Josh was, I feel like, my heyday. I just remember being aware that Sam and Cat was a thing, but that Ariana Grande also had her like adult career going at that point, and I thought that those two things were very contradictory. Obviously, that's all for a reason. I was like, how are we going to do serious Ariana Grande when she's still clocking in at Nickelodeon every day to do pratfalls and get slimed on? But now I see
Who saw
there's more to it.
All right, let's move to Ariana. Pratfalls and getting slimed on.
Pratfalls and getting slimed on.
So, I had to screenshot this because it's really funny. There's a picture of Mariah Carey in the Wikipedia immediate pull up for Ariana Grande. A girl who was always trying to be, I don't know, trying to play a character, I guess. She is noted for her 4-octave vocal range. Something here's a hot take. I don't think that vocal talent is real. I think that if your parents have enough money to pay for vocal lessons and you have a good natural tone, of course you can be a singer. Is that crazy?
I feel like that's definitely a skill set. Like that's something like people are too focused on whether or not it's innate, and it's like, all right, but where did you wind up with that skill? Because some people have taken it a lot farther.
Mm-hmm. I
I think they have
watched
the whole Mariah Ariana beef as a result.
a silly beef. Mariah is living her best life. She is beautiful and thick. She has twins. She just went to the Great Wall of China. I saved those pictures on my phone. I don't know. And Mariah always really hates when people want to be like her. So I don't know how you sort of put yourself in that line of attack, but maybe everyone is just hoping that they'll get you know, the tiara from her at the end of the prom.
Or she's going to be so good that she's going to pass it on to her. And it's like, no, I actually would like to hold on to my crown forever.
Yeah. Like she's going to the grave with probably her entire team. I don't know.
Diva of all time.
So well, this is the yours truly, but something I wanted to say that was interesting because in the one of the deep dives, the many deep dives I looked at today, about Ariana's parents, not to be the nepo baby detector. I mean, maybe we'll have to do that a little bit, because we're making the claim that like people like this is, I don't know, this is sort of a sacrifice you put your children into, and that's like at the time that Ariana Grande, Jeanette McCurdy, those people were doing it, like if their parents weren't aware of that and weren't like fighting tooth and nail to not let them get screwed up, then it was gonna happen. So who do you put the blame on there? But Ariana, her family is like very, very rich, and the money, I couldn't figure out where it came from the first time, but in 1964, her grandparents like bought the biggest marine, like a military communications contractor for the Navy that makes the like in the submarine in the movie when the submarine's going down and the alarms are along the ship side going and everyone's screaming and running. Ariana Grande's family bought the company that makes those alarms. so so I don't know. It's not like they needed her to be on Disney Channel. She wasn't getting them through the
You
rough
didn't have to
times.
sell your kid.
Yeah.
Just did it for the love of the game. Because something, power, influence.
Right? Or also they you know, they say a million times that when she was like 6, she was obsessed with Broadway and wanted to be on Broadway. Me too. I don't know. I saw Cats when I was a little kid, and I thought I could do that. But they were really like perfect. Performing arts school. You know, can't wait till you sing for the president.
There's something so tragic about just having an active imagination as a kid, and then they're like, we need to monetize this immediately. Do not develop any new interests at any point. You should just watch Wicked while you're in your room over and over again. And then when you get to be in Wicked in the future, after you've experienced a lifetime of trauma and brainwashing, you get to feel like a little consolation prize because you fulfilled what we set you out to do. You know, just normal kid stuff.
Ariana on her mom is she is beautiful, generous, and the most incredible kick-ass businesswoman. All terrifying things to me. And then I put this little picture of her singing for Obama. Because a little bit about this is just sort of the concept of soft power and how important American pop stars are in the world at large. Like I put on this slide. This is the we can watch this actually. This is the release video for Yours Truly, her first studio album. I want to say 2017, and it went #1 in over 30 countries, which she says immediately. She's very excited to share that. So just real quick. Slideshow.
Ready?
Yeah.
Rolling. Action. See the space What time did you go to bed last night?
Me? I didn't go to bed last night.
Why not?
Because my album is #1 in the world. The whole world. Maybe not the whole world. But over 30 countries, including my own.
Including my own.
What we're doing today?
Today, I'm singing on the Today Show. I haven't slept at all. And my album came out last night. And it went to #1 in 17 minutes. And that makes it #1 in over 30 countries now. So today I'm singing on the Today Show. My eyelids just stopped working.
Ready?
Something Jeanette McCurdy said in this interview, the Red Table Talk interview with the fucking Smith family, bless them. She was like, it's really hard to be known forever for something you did when you were 13. But I also feel like it's equally hard to be known forever for something you worked on when you were 16 to 19. Maybe not equally, but that album is EDM garbage. It had like 10 producers. This wasn't like, you know, she didn't get off the Nickelodeon set and go home and like work on, I don't know. I mean, in a sense she did, but this is also a very produced, they're making a pop star. They made a pop star, and that has very little to do with the person inside the body that you're dragging around, right?
Sort of injecting the personality of the brand that they have cultivated for her. And then if she wants to like really connect with the music she's making, that just has to be her truth. Like, okay, this is a highly personal album, if you guys say so.
Mm-hmm. And all of her albums at this point have been like in the same in the same way with Taylor Swift. It's like it's always about a breakup. It's always like Selena Gomez, I feel like, is probably the most comparable to Ariana Grande from this era, maybe.
Mhm.
It's always about a big breakup, and always, I don't know, and then sometimes. Oh, Emmylou is here. Emmylou will be bringing us our ending video today.
Hey.
Sorry, we just got very nervous because Emmylou is here.
Hello, Emily.
I wrote some weird schizophrenic shit here. The thing about like who were their parents' nepo baby stuff is it's true. And they can distance. It's true that they can distance themselves. Like it's true that Ariana Grande could have pulled a Macaulay Culkin and divorced her parents or whatever. But it's probably like Jeanette McCurdy didn't get to divorce her mom. It probably is an access thing. It's probably a, or I don't know. I mean, maybe if you're really, I mean, if you're richer, your parents are nice to you sometimes. Like maybe like the pressure is less there. You know, you can skip as many days on set as you want because we'll just find another thing for you to do. But she certainly did not fail. She certainly worked her ass off and did not fail. Um, and then I had, yeah, here's Jeanette McCurdy. Um, More stuff on Victorious. Let me pull up my notes here. Because we can go a little bit more into like her specific experience if we want. Or we can start talking about music. But I just want to say that the red hair and the baby voice is a humiliation ritual. That is not.
Oh, absolutely. It's the Marilyn Monroe thing.
Mm-hmm. Wait, what do you
If we're
mean?
gonna give you, well, because I just always thought it was interesting that she was like such a sex symbol, and then you go back and you watch a movie, and she's actually doing the most put on baby voice imaginable. So it's just like to have that pairing, like visually, she's gonna be a sex symbol, but then you're gonna turn on the video and she's going to be acting like a little baby. Like you're gonna see like some magazine spread and then watch it, and then it's like, oh wait a minute, this is a little kid because they're doing weird conditioning.
Mm. From like a directorial standpoint, you just imagine like Dan Schneider did I don't know, like imagining like the people involved in these shows meeting these kids and their parents and then like picking up on their insecurities and then writing on screen like as much as possible when she had these like insane this like mother dynamic where her mom was making her learn how to cut cat, like I don't know, there's a point where it's like, okay, you weren't involved but you also ironically were really good at hurting each of these kids individually.
Well, it's like how she had her hair up for the entire time after she was off of Victorious, but then they said that they weren't allowed to have their hair up on Nickelodeon shows. So it's like obviously that was a battle for you. You were spending so much time just begging them to let you put your hair up, and they would not let you
Which, by the way, that's porn logic, if I ever did hear it. Why the hell can't they have their hair up?
because the weirdo in charge doesn't like it. It doesn't fit his visual, I guess,
And it's a
because he's
bad
just
red.
making it all.
It's a bad
It was
red.
the red of the times, and it was a bad red. It was the pre Behad Behaby, when you could still have that red and not be Behad Behaby.
Well, we'll talk about Bahad Behaby. Probably one of the best musicians of our time.
Yeah, she's my hero, to be honest.
Me too, man. I think that would be
Nothing
really.
but respect for Behad Behaby.
If we did an episode about Bahad Behaby, we would just sing the whole time. Maybe we could do that.
Gucci flip flops.
Recently, my friend Megan was like, because she was like, what other good bad baby songs are there? Because I've heard Gucci Flip Flops and Hi Bitch. What other good bad? And I was like, are you kidding me? Can you click on Spotify and use your eyes? Like, what do you mean?
Like she's got a whole catalog. Nothing but hit.
Of weird stuff, of weird like kind of P Diddy type of shit. It's so good. It's so good.
She just kind of, sorry, she just got mainlined into it because she was already so traumatized just on Dr. Phil. Like, oh yeah, just throw her right into the system. She's perfect.
Like, wait, she can rap? Well, it was all written for her, but then she can. She does it.
But she had flow. That's all it took.
Also, all these kids were like, the like pitting them against each other is so tactical and creepy. Um, and so much of like watching Sam and Cat clips. I remember iCarly being really fun. Sam and Cat is just like about how they don't like each other. there's like a lot of screaming. They live together and they have insane conflict kind of consistently as a drive of the show.
Just imagine they just had absolutely no chemistry at all, and they were like, all right, so let's just have that be the point. It was really just they had a budget and they had these two girls in a box, and they knew they were going to be done with Nickelodeon soon. Like, you're growing up, Ariana's got a music career. At that point, I'm pretty sure Jeanette was like trying to do country music, and I was wholeheartedly there to support her at the time. And it was just, like, this is supposed to be your send off into the world of making us loads of money. Like, it's not really about a memorable show because it comes in waves. Like, it's generational. Like, the iCarly kids are growing up, the Victoria's kids are growing up. You can't convince like the next generation to buy into Sam and Cat halfway through. Like, this is a send off.
Mm-hmm. I wonder
It's just a little torture chamber.
how much of the actual writing on these shows is just recycled because they can't. I don't know. They seem really not well conceived, and it's so like with the fetish content, you could almost maybe just like I don't know. Maybe they showed up and they couldn't really come up with something. Would be maybe the far and away excuse of that of like why the shit is so weird. And, maybe people are overworked and all they can come up with is let's slime Ariana again or like make her I don't know do some weird shit with her feet. But I don't know. These aren't great. These aren't great shows. Certainly no Breaking Bad.
Pretty much 50% slime and then 50% like kind of like AI generated SNL skits from the 80s because that's just what they have. They're just like, let me just rewrite those over and over again, but with teenagers in circle skirts.
Oh my god, remember the circle skirt?
It was a circle skirt. It was knee-high socks. It was a bad time.
Ugh. Speaking of, here's Ariana licking the donut. I do have an audio. Oh, I don't think I can set it up. Do you remember when Ariana licked the donut?
It was a big day. That was a big day in history.
And what she says is, "I hate America." Or no, she says that, and it's really just flirting with this guy who knows where the hell he is at this point. Um, and then she's like, "I hate America," and then she had to do a whole apology sort of cycle where she was like, "I don't actually hate America. I just think that the way we eat is really fucked up," and just a bunch of shit that had nothing to do with. I don't know. People were,
Licking a donut,
yeah.
which I feel like is more of an important act. Like, I want to know where you thought that donut was going to wind up, if you thought someone other than you was going to eat that donut, if they were going to throw it out, if you were willing to pay for it. Like, I'm not worried about what you feel about the obesity epidemic. I think you just said that to redirect from the fact that you just licked a donut.
First, the place got shut down, which is really interesting because it is true that they should not have had them just out there like that for dumb teenagers to do stunts that will follow them forever. And then the other thing is that I feel like the excuse is really interesting because that is literally all she was thinking about probably the entire time was just, I don't know. We don't have to sort of, I don't want to throw around eating disorder stuff because it's so serious and distressing, but she fucking hates food. A lot of the girls on these shows were taught to really hate food, really hate fat people, really hate everyone around them's desire to eat, probably really hate eating sounds, seeing people eating. She probably doesn't like ASMR videos of people eating. And she said I hate America, which was really funny. Yeah.
That's like inherent to the like Hollywood LA thing, like the conditioning to just really hate food. So I feel like you would just think of America as everywhere else besides your little enclave where it's just sprouted greens. Like, you're like, oh my god, why am I even in a place that has donuts? I should be in the sprouted greens store right now where it's safe.
This I really like when shit like this happens. Like this feel like the graininess of I don't know. Like who could say this wasn't a stunt and there wasn't someone filming behind the counter because this is a weird place to put maybe it is a real security video, But it reminds me of like when Miley Cyrus was smoking salvia, and we just have this grainy iPhone footage of her doing it, and they're like, people are like, it could have just been weed, but her her PR people wanted it to be something legal, and it's like way crazier of Miley Cyrus to be doing salvia.
Directly responsible for salvia becoming illegal.
Do you think so?
I
Really?
think so.
I don't know.
Because I think like things like that fly under the radar. Like the only reason it was not regulated was because no one was paying attention. And then the second a bunch of teenagers start doing it, which is like usually after a celebrity does it, they're like, all right, I guess we need to move on to a new thing, like kratom or kava kava,
Oh,
something more modern.
yeah. Well, salvia, my roommate in college told me that when she did salvia sitting on a bench in Washington, D.C., she looked at her fingers, and off of each end of her finger, a hand was growing, and then it kept going forever. Um,
I don't like that.
no. So I wouldn't imagine, maybe Miley Cyrus really liked that at the time.
Hmm. Yeah, everything I've ever seen has been someone like collapsing to the ground, and that wasn't really what she had going on. She was just having a silly one.
Have you seen this video?
Is this the one where she says that her name is not pronounced the way that we've been pronouncing it?
Oh, I don't think so. Okay, let's watch it because it's
Hi, I'm Ariana Grande, and you're watching Billboard. Okay, so first up is this photo of me. This is a very young, flamboyant grande child. I seem to be enjoying a tiny guitar and doing what looks like the bend and snap, I guess. I haven't grown much since then. And there's also a really dope, like, Picasso pillow in the background. Where's that? Mom, can I have that? Okay, next one. Okay, so this is me and Frankie. Very cute as young children. I still look like that without makeup and hair and extensions and stuff. Frankie doesn't look like that at all. I don't know. I actually don't even think that's Frankie. I don't know who that is. Actually, maybe I have another brother. But that's me for sure. I look exactly, for real, when I get out of the shower, it's exactly what I look like. I swear to God. I swear. Good times, man. Thank you. Okay, next one. Me and Mommy. This is me and Mommy. Again, that's exactly what I look like without hair and makeup. That's me and my mom, looking very similar, and I look very contemplative. My mom must have been teaching me how to run a business already. At 3, she's like, honey, so here's how you answer the phones. This is me and my grandpa. Cute. I was his favorite. I know you're not supposed to have like a favorite grandchild, but I was for sure his favorite. I was like 2 minutes old here, so it's so cute. I like my headpiece. Oh, this one's really fun. Okay, so this was not Halloween. This was like a random Thursday in July. And my dad was like working late, so my family and I did this together. That's insane. We need severe help. Still. All of us. This also is still what I look like without makeup on. Oh, this is a really, really great baby picture. This is a really special one, because it's pretty much, I don't think there's any shadier looking person on the planet. That's the shadiest thing I've ever seen in my whole life. Also, Nona had red hair. When was that? I'm like, bitch, that's my cookie. That's my juice, okay? Carry on. Thank you, next. That's what this baby picture says. That's crazy. If my kid ever looks at me like that, I'm gonna be like, oh shit. Last one. Oh, this
This is one of the things that people
Pretty
pull up a
accurate.
lot when they're like, this is her at the peak of pretending to be a black woman. Is when she says,
That's my cookie. That's my juice.
just like kind of, after she says it, she kind of like is like, I probably, she like, the way she moves on is kind of like, maybe that was a little much. So I guess the question, okay, here's like something kind of complicated because we called this one MK Ari. Um, there is a there's a school of thought that the end, what they learned through the many different MK Ultra projects, sub projects. One of them was about sexual abuse and learning about dissociative identity and how controlling people is easiest when they're like when they're primed through, I mean, literally like molestation and like being drug abused and things when they're very, very little, to then be able to dissociate and take on other identities. That is a very literal interpretation of the weird fucking identity crises that she seems to go through. It also does seem like something that has happened to people in her position before, where you're kind of like, I'm 20, I've never been a person before. I was defined by a Nickelodeon show, a Disney show, whatever, for however long. And what's kind of cool now, like Miley Cyrus rolled out a whole AAV character. Anyway, it's creepy. It all creeps me out. I want to know how you feel. Like when she was pretending to be Asian, it really came from a like K-pop popularity era. Like it was really following trends.
It seemed like she was coming off of the trap era, and then everyone sort of clued in. And I mean, everyone was doing that too. Like, or not everyone, but there was, a general, like you're saying, Miley Cyrus also had a phase, and then that became uncool, and that's the only reason people really started paying attention to the fact that that was unseemly. And then she's like, I guess we could do K-pop, but I don't think anybody besides like pre-existing K-pop fans really wound up receiving the K-pop thing as well as they expected, so she had to make another hard pivot pretty quick because I don't think that the Asian phase didn't last that long.
No. Where are we now? What is it? This phase now is Arian Galinda. No,
This is plotting on an Oscar.
this is the Oscar plot. This is about the legacy. Nothing
Mm-hmm.
previously was about the legacy. It was just getting to the place where you can start to build the legacy, God forbid.
Mm-hmm.
Poor Madonna. All these people.
You have just a catalog of basic pop albums, and then you're like, all right, well, because I am a talented singer, I'm just going to lean into that and then embody old Hollywood and just hope that that turns into me being a respected character when everyone on Twitter is still like, that's my cookie, that's my juice. Like, we were there, we remember, and you wish we couldn't.
Here's Ariana and P. Diddy. Sean Diddy Combs. Something about all of these revelations about creeps and weirdos and pederasts and pedocrats, etc., is that we're always on there's always a delay before we sort of learn about it. So something interesting about, the Ariana, Black appropriation media cycle, maybe album cycle, is that it did involve relationships with Diddy. It involved going to parties at Diddy's house. It also involved, like, I don't know, a relationship with Big Sean that kind of seemed like a PR move. All of her relationships very well could just be, who her people are introducing her to. Pete Davidson creeps me out. I think I don't know.
Not to be a horrible person, but her name escapes me at the time. But the one that was in Glee that played Santana
Oh,
that also
fuck.
dated Big Sean, Naya Rivera. Yeah, I remember like listening to excerpts of her autobiography that was like very clearly, definitely written by her. She had something about how she came home and she caught Big Sean cheating on her with an unnamed pop star, but she made it very obvious that it was Ariana Grande.
I read
So I
that.
guess that's yeah, it's like just sneak it into the narrative. You're like, all right, I need to rebrand, so it has
Like
to be Big Sean.
like an 18-year-old Ariana. Well, he was probably pretty young as well. But,
Mhm.
it's
Fresh off the teen starlet.
yes. how exciting it is! How exciting it is to be a teen starlet who's suddenly in, like, you know, your what you believe a trap house to be like, I guess, or like some kind of creepy. I don't know.
And just everyone's promising you, and it does, because it was profitable. Like, it was a major success. Like, clearly there was a market for it and people wanted it. But I think pretty soon into that being the most popular thing in the world, like the cracks start a show and everyone has to be a little embarrassed about it, and then you just watch your empire fall down around you. Like, wait, I thought I was like the trap queen, and it turns out this is temporary.
Those albums
Oh
did.
no.
What do you think? Oh no. Here's her hand. I like her hand tattoos. She got these during the Pete Davidson era. Um, SNL is so suspicious and is so politically motivated and is so just by the very fact that they have a very literal date of the week they need to hype up for. All of the days leading up
Mhm.
to it are so PR. I don't know, like the cycle with like the Charlie promos. It's so humiliating and weird, and the writing isn't
Mhm.
good. Um,
Yeah, the promos are always like the least funny thing imaginable. The performances are always, they sound terrible. Like, it's pretty much you're designed to fall flat on your face unless you get a few hit skits, and now you're in the Domingo.
now we're doing
Pete
Domingo
Davidson was her
again.
handler.
Say it.
More Domingo. I said Pete Davidson was her handler. Just to cut to that. Like, you think you're gonna get out of the machine, and then you're all in on getting tattoos all over your body to match with this man, and you're engaged, and then people are making so much money off of it, but you're gonna be broken up by the next album cycle. Very crazy.
And Mac Miller's gonna die. Mac Miller's gonna overdose. And it's gonna be horrible and scary, and then we're gonna go into another album cycle. It's like the roller coaster never ends. And Pete Davidson, I think Pete Davidson is suspicious. I think you're right about, I don't know, like who the hell at NBC is like Pete, like the new act, you know, you should let her know how, you know, give her a, like, the things that happen to men with big dicks are really shameful in our society. Um,
It's also just someone, like, clearly she's just been robbed of any sense of identity, so she really does have to change hands. And if you're spending the majority of your time with this man, like, that puts him in the position to like make decisions for you and just decide where you're going. Like, what were you doing before? I don't know, but now you're getting Pokemon tattoos.
mhm.
That's just going to be an unremovable part of your brand right now. Go all in on matching Potter tattoos.
Mm. And the picture I had for our opening with the, you know, the classic. I took I took Pete out and I put Lee Harvey um with some tats, some face tats, because that's her type, and you
Every
know I get it. Um,
Americana.
it's like how, like, why the fuck did Pete Davidson like date Kim Kardashian? Like, really, who is pimping out Pete Davidson? It's not cool.
It's crazy too that like a date Ariana Grande immediately raises your stock. So it's like the whole thing was like, oh, like the short-lived relationship. She dumped him. She broke up with him, but he just now is an established man on the scene. Like, you're Ariana Grande's ex, which means now you're about to get Kim Kardashian's ex, which means you rule the world if you so desire.
Hmm. We're gonna send you to the UK and introduce you to some duchesses. Here's Ariana now. Um, the Twitter cycle. Twitter is a really powerful thin bow um, hellmouth lately. Thank you, Elon.
Mm.
Um, I don't like when the comments that people make about her body are complicated. It's because, you know, it's like the Eugenia Cooney paradox of, are we all really just sitting around talking about how skinny someone is, and then some 10-year-old is going to see it because we're all sitting around and talking about it, and then it's just a reverse. I don't know, you can take on that. The disease is contagious beyond criticism. I don't like when people say,
Like I know
yeah,
that it's
go
I
ahead.
was gonna say, like, it's like they call it, like, it is a social contagion, but you can't blame someone on the internet when they also were influenced by someone prior to them. Like, this rolls downstream. Like, you'd be mad at Eugenia Cooney. Like, who's the first deathly skinny person Eugenia Cooney saw and then saved to her iPhone and made her wallpaper? Like, is she responsible?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, and people like to say that Ariana looks like a little girl a lot, and I think that's fucked up because her brain is like she's an adult. Like her body is an adult body because she's an adult, you know.
Right, like, that just is a grown woman.
Yeah.
And we only see them as children because we meet them as children. And then that's by design. Like every child star realizes they can't shake off the child star thing because people are attached to the idea of being a child because that was like so much of their appeal. So either you stay looking like a child or you don't, and then people turn on you.
Terrible.
And then if you get like so skinny, they're like because they're saying like, oh, she's aging poorly. That's what I keep seeing. They're describing that as aging poorly. I'm like, no, she's just visibly ill.
Yeah. There's also a factor of um so like the fandom around Ariana can like around anyone. You know, I don't know if Eugenia Cooney's fandom is anything other than the negative at this point, but like if you're saying that people who are concerned about what they're looking at are just wrong and like hurting the person by lying, um like the logic can just be thrown out the window that you see someone who looks unhealthy and the majority of that there's some kind of like I don't know what I'm saying. Like that we can't all tell, or that
Mm-hmm.
yeah, or that like somehow it would be up for debate, or that it even should be
We
up
don't
to
need to argue all day about it.
yeah.
Like, I don't know, like, you have to find, like, they have to admit to you whether or not they're acting in an unhealthy way for us to even be able to talk about the fact that they're visibly unhealthy.
And like you said about the the like sprouts and nothing else culture of LA, like there's no one but if you're the kind of person surrounded by people who think that who like are maybe paid and also paid by you to enable your behavior or also believe the same things that you're doing are good, then people on your phone who live in fucking Pennsylvania or like Texas, what the hell do they know about what it's like to look good? Of course you're not even here, you know you're not an expert,
Right,
you're yeah.
it's sort of like, I don't know, like they, like, or it's when someone who is in Hollywood does body positivity, it's almost like a treat to the people in middle America. Like, here, we know what it's like. We're gonna say that it's good to look whatever, and then we're gonna turn off the camera and make sure, under all circumstances, that we do not look like the average person. And it's sort of like, I don't know, like condescending. Like, yeah, it's okay to look like whatever you want to look like. I put on prosthetics to make myself look worse for this movie about how it's okay to look like whatever. But really, I continue to get filler.
Mm-hmm. We're seeing the active dismantling of any body positive pop music, which in part is
Mm-hmm.
Lizzo's fault for just, I guess, being a bitch to her dancers. She was really all there was. So
The first block to fall. But
yeah,
people are really waiting for it, though, because it seemed like, I don't know, like one day you wake up and then Target has plus size mannequins, and then people on the internet that are acting like this is like a massive push to overthrow all beauty standards. It kind of is, but then it only lasts like 2 months because everyone wants to go back. They're like, bring back the Victoria's Secret fashion show. We
ugh,
were just kidding.
I'm so sick of the Victoria's Secret fashion show. What the hell is wrong with everyone?
I can't believe that that's like for teenage girls. I found that out this year because everyone was like, "Oh my god!" Like I don't know, like it was just all teenage girls so thrilled about the Victoria's Secret fashion show and having that be inspirational to them. And I'm like, I remember seeing the ads for that when I was a kid and was just understood that it was for creepy men.
It's so like maybe it used to be, and now it's like this like teenage like weird kind of like because there's a lesbian element whenever we fucking do that and we parade around like 30-year-old women with like fully grown tits and we tell like teenagers this is what you need to be, this is what you need to be or whatever, like that's
Right, but
pretty.
it's like, oh, you want to be them. That's the scam. It's like you want to be them. It's nothing more than that.
Like wouldn't you love
You don't
to
like to look at women.
be in this dressing room?
And so they're all so close and giggly.
Donald Trump gets to go in the dressing room.
It's, not-
Is that true?
it's a hell of a culture, the pageant culture.
Yeah, maybe
You can
yeah.
put Vaseline on your teeth culture.
Disgusting.
Hmm.
Okay, I said all that. So we're nearing the end of our time. We've been I think pretty, although we were saying that we were going to conjecture wildly, I think we've been actually pretty safe. We've done no discussion of mass murder surrounding this woman. We've just talked about her career. So good for that. Ari, if you're listening, you're welcome. Today you said that movie musicals are obsolete. So let's talk about Wicked. Ariana wrote a message to herself on the first day of filming. I hope you're happy. This could be a lie told by Ariana Grande today on Twitter, but I thought it was that's something that you say when you're like angry at someone for doing something. So I thought that was an interesting.
Like, God, I hope you're happy. Or just you're in a position, you're just clearly not happy. It's either resentful, like you're expecting this to ruin your life, or your life already feels ruined and you're hoping that this is like a last ditch effort to be once again a completely different person.
And I mean, like we looked at the Dangerous Woman, the Bad Girl albums a bit, and talked about like where she's come from before here. This is such a departure. Um,
She is no longer keeping it squeaky. She is no longer wearing a leather bunny mask. It is a
she's not.
different time.
There will be no ya in Wicked, I bet. Have, have you seen the AI generated what people think popular was gonna sound like?
I did see that.
That's terrible. How can she possibly feel about that? And her music has also like she's clearly like never mind, like now we're doing like I'm a balladist, I'm like a serious sort of um yeah, she released an album this year that like she really didn't need to do that when she's working on this giant press tour, but it does sort of feel like she needs to have the epic like for people who are maybe looking her up who don't know what she's been doing for a while. She doesn't want them to start with Side to Side or whatever.
I do think it's funny that she's been so apologetic lately. Like, guys, I want to do more movies. Like, I'm so sorry. Don't worry. I'm not going to stop making music. So, like, clearly on some investment level, she thinks that this is an unsafe move, which is fair because, like, again, movie musicals are not a good bet. Like, look at Cats. But I don't know why they ever thought Cats should be a movie that is not a star vehicle. Like, this makes so much more sense.
Well,
But clearly she's still worried that like she's gonna disrupt her fan base and then it's all gonna fall apart because they ride for her. And now you have to get all new people like Lady Gaga ditching the monsters to get middle-aged women that love Tony Bennett and me. Well,
yeah.
switch up.
Oh, this could really fuck with her fan base.
said the dynamic could really shift.
Selena
That's what I'm saying. It's
Gomez.
kind of safe. Oof.
Selena Gomez has made the transition to mom loved person well.
You know, you're doing a show with like Martin Short, which just sounds not real. I like her cooking show. So much of what she's been doing lately, so much of Selena Gomez's fame has always sounded made up to me, even when I was really in the thick of it. Like I remember when she was the most followed person on Instagram, and I was like, surely that's not true.
That was weird.
It didn't seem true to me. All of her songs, I don't know. She didn't seem like she had that remarkable of a character carved out for her, but here she is still
How
doing her cooking shows.
how much like I also found her being the most followed person on Instagram pretty weird.
Mm.
Like what was her hit? I only remember the video of her and Justin Bieber walking around LA trying to buy meth.
That was a classic. It said, "If you're ready, come and get it." Nah, 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 nah. That was a Rihanna ripoff.
Ugh.
It said the Magic one that was like a tie-in to Wizards of Waverly Place, which also I think that was their first attempt at a pop star post Hannah Montana.
Oh
Like they're
yeah.
like, okay, Hannah Montana, we got all the money out of that, so we're gonna do. And I was thinking about this today. Like Wizards of Waverly Place is one of the only ones of those that is about a character that is not a famous pop star musician. You're not going to school for the arts like they are in Victorious. So it doesn't translate that well to her being like a recognizable pop star. Like they're not setting that up the way that they would.
Hmm. And yet she made it work for her.
Mm-hmm.
Do you
Yeah.
think
See, I'm a
Do you remember? Do you remember the videos of the like beef between Selena Gomez and Demi Lovato and Miley Cyrus and her best friend that they did on like iMovie videos?
that girl was so much older than Miley Cyrus. She was like 8 years older than her or something.
Okay, talk about a fucking
Yeah,
antler. What the hell?
right. Like you're on. I'm making YouTube videos with this girl bullying her peers who are also 8 years younger than you
Who are also
and
like her
encouraging her to be a
coworkers.
massive bitch. He's like gap tooth. Power Rangers. It was terrible. The Miley and Mandy show. But then that meant Selena Gomez was the nice one. And then Demi Lovato was like the emo one.
Mhm.
But then she kind of ruined that by being on drugs. So then they just gave up on the concept of the emo one, I think.
You can't. The emo one is a really bad. It brings in a lot of. I mean, same thing with like a Jade character in Victorious. Like, really,
Mhm.
what you're saying is that this person has psychological problems and probably likes older men.
Right. Why is she sad? Can you tell us why she's sad? They can't. Or I think it's crazy Ariana Grande had the whole bit that she had like a weird, like pedophile brother that was part of the Victorious plot line. Like she would just make weird comments all the time that would just insinuate like pseudo incest, and it was just very strange
That's
that they
not good.
folded that in.
That's not good.
Wow. And then that of course like ends into like the dissociative, like why is she doing a baby voice and like looking out into the distance, and then she dropped some horrible line about her brother locking her in a closet and she doesn't remember what happened next. Like it's a little I don't like it.
It's like who wrote that, and then there's no one at Nickelodeon who's like explain what you mean by like. Can you just tell me what you mean by that? What did he
She
do?
said kids think it's funny. The kids laugh. Look, they're laughing
These shows
because we
are
put a laugh track.
they're laughing. This is what they like.
It's inherent.
I don't know. It makes it because like the way that Ariana Grande being a sacrifice to being a traumatized kind of vessel. The point is to transfer that to everyone watching. That's the whole point of the ritual, or whatever the fuck you want to call it. So it's like you like shit like that. It's like, okay, so you're just making like a kid who's that's never happened to draw the
Mhm.
connections and like come up with like like suddenly have the consciousness to understand like getting raped by your brother.
And then if they are like a kid that genuinely does understand that, like now you've given them like a blueprint to model themselves after, because kids love relatable content, especially if it's like something really niche and specific
See
and
that once
traumatic. So
again,
it's
the
like
responsibility
you're
to
telling
corrupt my
kids like
fellow
you should
student
process
falls to me.
horrible trauma by acting like Ariana Grande, which means zoning out, doing a baby voice, and then leading a hypersexual pop career to like reclaim your power or something.
Mm-hmm. Hypersexual pop career, hypersexual personal life, as far as we know. Um,
Right, and then your relationships, so like every little piece of lore that is about your life truly is like about your feelings and romantic relationships. Like that's your potential to like inject your actual life into your career, because the plot relies around your relationships. Like, who is she dating? Big Sean? I can't wait for the next album where she talks about dating Big Sean. Oh my God, is she going to talk about breaking up with Pete Davidson? Oh my God, there's a song called Pete Davidson.
oh my god.
It's
Mac Miller died. Will she talk about how Mac Miller died? You know?
You said, are we gonna get a little insight into some more of her trauma, like as a little treat?
Ugh. Um, this was the most recent thing posted on the Wicked, or on Ariana's YouTube channel. It's a Wicked Roblox. It's a Wicked Roblox.
Wicked.
We don't have to listen to it. The yeah, I mean, like current this year news cycles, she broke up a family, quote unquote. They also had Ice Spice do that this year, so it's kind of moot to me.
Feeling contrived. That one I really didn't believe at all. You will never convince me that Ice Spice had any sort of interaction with that man that could be described as like a legitimate date, or like any, just it's not, I don't believe you. I just don't believe you. Like they saw how well the John Mulaney thing took off. Everyone's breaking up marriages. Why
Exactly.
not?
It would not be that hard to be like, hey, guy who plays SpongeBob, we're gonna pay you however much to not live with your wife, talk about your wife. I don't know. It's really
Well, it's
important. It's for the
also
Wicked movie.
I also think they like pay them with Ariana. It's like Pete Davidson. Your reward is that you get to be the guy that's dating Ariana Grande. We've picked up on the fact that you like resonate with her in some way. So can you like be the boss of her? If she does the things that we want her to do, you'll also make us so much money.
Hmm.
Like, don't you want her to follow through on that album? Like, that's good for you too.
Yeah. Haven't you heard of Wicked?
Have you heard? It would be great. You'll both be in it. It's a star vehicle. You're both theater kids.
Defying gravity.
I
Will we see it? I will see it. Will you see it?
see it.
Yeah, we're gonna see the shot of it. She's a great singer.
I got a little, I'm inclined towards the musicals. I want to know, I want to see, I want to sit there and be kind of grumpy and say that the dance numbers were poorly choreographed. It's just something I like to do.
Rapid fire as an ending note, I guess. What are your favorite Ariana Grande songs?
I Dangerous Woman really did do it for me initially. I liked Ghostin'. I did like the Thank You Next era. I feel like a criminal indulging in it, but I did I like it. Um, but beyond that, I never liked her particular vocal range. It didn't scratch my brain. I always wanted to get into Ariana Grande, and I would listen because everyone loved her so much, and I was like, I don't know, this is just not it. I feel I'm also moved by the zeitgeist, and my enjoyment of it has usually been plot based.
Mm-hmm. I love God as a Woman. I think it's a really good song. I think whoever, I don't know, whatever group of people were integral in that coming to be, I think the music video is good. I think it was I think they were kind of like, okay, we're going to do like a song about how feminism is getting fucked by Pete Davidson. And it was like, okay, fine. You know, like that's what the year is. So let's do it.
Yeah, we can sell that. Was that the same year as the Pussy Hats?
Was God
I'd
as a
put money
Woman the
on it.
same year as Pussy Hats?
Need
That
to
would have
find out.
been.
I guess that is 2016, right?
It's 20. God as a Woman is 2018.
That sounds right too. Like a little post that.
So people were excited to hear. And the thing that you said about like the hypersexual album, like like the era of hypersexuality being like the answer that that is culturally given to traumatized children is like, here, this is how you do it, is now your body's yours, use it, and use it as much as possible. That makes a great pop
That
album.
is the perfect pivot out of the child star thing. Like because you have to explain yourself. Like, why are you going from being a child star singing love songs to just singing the most explicitly sexual thing imaginable? It's like, because I'm taking back my power. It's got a purpose.
Ladies and gentlemen, power has a purpose.
Mm-hmm.
I'm closing us out. We hope you will come back and watch us again. I think that we'll find another topic and rant and rave and say everything another time. I want to thank my associate, ex-CIA, current CIA, Frankie Zappa,
Happy to be here,
and
whatever my career may be.
Nickelodeon producer.
That's it. Nobody knows.
Maybe next time we'll talk about Gypsy Rose or something.
I could get into that.
Okay. I'm taking us off. Good night, stream. And
Bye.
I'm gonna put on Emma Lou.
It's Emma Lou with Emma Lou's question of the day. Today's question of the day is, can birds fart? Why or why not? Does God will it to be so? Let's find out. The answer is no. But why? I'll tell you. Mike Murray from the Monterey Bay Aquarium in California says birds don't typically carry the same kinds of gas-forming bacteria in their gut as humans and other mammals do to help to digest food. So there's nothing to let loose, which is great, but that's only one guy. So do your own research and get back to me, huh? Okay.